I'm delighted that we are joined today by Professor Aditi Mehta, who's going to be your lead professor and instructor for your URP course. So stay tuned. We've got so much to cover. The agenda for today is I'll start with a brief overview of Summer Abroad. Some of you may be new to the Summer Abroad program, so be happy to provide you a little bit more detail so you understand what this program means and why it's so important that every Summer Abroad opportunity is available to you and why you should even consider them. Then we'll proceed a little bit into the deep diving ends of the India Summer Abroad program and the course details. Once we've covered that, I'll move to the practicalities of how to apply, cost, financial aid, and how to make sure that you're financially making a plan available and it is going to be possible for you to think about this opportunity. Last but not least, EDIA resources and support are available to you. So we'll touch on that so you have great insights on what's available. And at the end, we will come back to Q&As. So do note that this particular session is being recorded for you. Students who registered for the session will receive a link of the recording. And we'll also be posting the information session, a recording of the information session on our website. So, what is Summer Abroad? I'm so glad that you're joining us today because Summer Abroad is an incredible opportunity. We're celebrating our 53rd year anniversary this year, and it's really exciting and amazing. It's very well known across so many students. We've had thousands of EFT students participate in this program over the decade, and they have provided great insights. And students come back every year after year to really show their appreciation and just let us know how impactful these programs have been as part of their undergraduate career, but also later in their career journey. So summer abroad is a unique opportunity where you have an opportunity to take a University of Toronto full year credit and complete it at an international location. So the entire program is usually about 3 to 4 weeks, and you're able to have a condensed, immersive experience in a fantastic location where your classroom is your location abroad, and you're able to really deeply dive into a topic, a study, an area of study that you're intrigued about. So these particular courses are to satisfy program, breadth requirements, or distribution requirements. Of course, it really depends on the nature of the program you're currently into. And you would also have an opportunity to interact not only with your University of Toronto professor, but also with international colleagues or faculty members abroad. I do see hands raised, and what I would say is if you have questions, feel free to type them up in the Q&A section that we have available to you. And any questions, if we could defer them to the end of the presentation, that would be fantastic. Okay, just bear with us a little bit. Thank you. You just going back to summer abroad program, it really is a great balance of field trips and a lot of opportunities to interact and have a hands-on experience abroad. Just also to clarify, our office is based on in the Woodswood College on the St. George campus, but the program itself and the courses are open to students from all 3 campuses. So we do have students participating in from different faculties and also from different campuses every single year. So all students, as long as you meet eligibility requirements, are welcome to apply, and we actually find that students from different faculties and areas of study add a very unique and important perspective to the program and to the course. So why summer abroad? I've touched on a couple of these points already. Doing a summer abroad doesn't only help you understand a particular area in a better way or a different way, it also has personal and professional benefits as well. You are able to make lifelong friends, finish a full year course in 4 weeks, a very condensed one, but also build contact. Maybe you're thinking about working internationally after your undergraduate degree, or maybe you're thinking of even doing graduate studies somewhere else. This is a really, really a good way to really spend 4 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks abroad with your peers and just get a sense of what does that mean? What are the practicalities around it? And how would you want to develop your competencies to ensure that when you graduate, you are really having great competencies developed and you're able to identify and showcase yourself differently to potential employers too. So let's talk a little bit more about the India Summer Abroad program. At this point, I would like to invite Professor Aditi Mehta, who's with us on this call, to tell you a little bit more about the program, about herself, and a little bit about the course activities as well.
Great. Thank you so much, Lorraine. Hi, everyone, and thank you for being here. It's nice to meet you sort of virtually. I recognize some of the names, so I know that I've had some of you as students before, and then I see some new names as well, which is really exciting. But as Lorraine said, this is the first time that we will have an urban studies summer abroad course in Mumbai. And so I thought I'd tell you a little bit more about myself and how the course came to be, and then a bit more about what the course is actually covering and what we plan to do. But when I was an undergrad, I was an urban studies and international relations major. I did my undergrad at Cornell University, and I also did a study abroad program, but my program was not in Mumbai, it was in Rome, Italy. However, in my coursework, I was really interested in the Global South and particularly interested in how urban planning and urban development happened in Indian cities. I am of Indian origin, but I grew up in the US. However, growing up, I would go back with my parents to visit relatives, and I was really taken with how different Indian cities were from North American cities. So that's what made me interested in that subject. And so as an undergraduate student, I took a lot of urban development courses about the Global South and particularly about India. And I learned all about Dharavi. So I don't know how many of you have come across Dharavi or heard about Dharavi in your courses, but Dharavi is actually South Asia's biggest slum, and it's located in Mumbai, and it's home to 6 million people. So it's huge. And Dharavi is also an economic powerhouse for the city of Mumbai. So even though it is informal developments, a lot of industries are located there. And coming out of Dharavi is about $2 billion worth the city's GDP each year. And so it's really interesting that this informal area is actually an economic powerhouse for the city. So I read all about Dharavi. I learned about a lot of the social justice issues there, about property rights, evictions, poverty, different sort of risks, particularly for young people and females living there. And so I became very interested in wanting to actually go and travel there and work in the field. So after I finished my undergraduate degree, I was working for an affordable housing developer in the United States that was working in neighborhoods in inner city Baltimore. And while I was doing that, I kept trying to find opportunities in Mumbai to compare my North American experiences in the Global South in Dharavi. And so I actually found a position with a nonprofit called Pukar. Pukar means to call out, and it's a youth organizing nonprofit. They work with young people in Dharavi on participatory mapping and community development projects. And I got a position with them all the way back in 2008. So I'm aging myself a bit, but I got a position with them because what had happened in 2008 is that the consulting firm McKinsey had been hired by the city of Mumbai to create a master plan for parts of the city that had these large swaths of informality. And so these McKinsey consultants came, and what they proposed was having very dense high rises in place of some of these informal developments. However, you could see that the McKinsey consultants didn't do their research because a lot of the people that lived in Dharavi, their livelihoods or jobs were things like pottery or fishermen, and they needed housing that was low rise because that's where they dried their fish on the roof of their homes, or that's where they made their pottery or dried their pottery. So Pukar was organizing a participatory workshop for different people, different residents, stakeholders, organizations to create a plan to submit to the city of Mumbai to say that you can't use McKinsey's master plan. So I was able to work on that. And so I was probably around the same age as many of you, maybe a couple of years older. And it was a life-changing experience. And it didn't really compare to just reading about the place and learning about the place in my classroom, but actually being there on the ground, doing the work, meeting practitioners, activists, residents. It really changed my perspective, not just on India, but also the work that I was doing in North America. So I share that experience because I take a lot of inspiration from it when I design the course. And I think we can go to the next slide. And the course is called Urban Justice in the Global South. And the city of Mumbai is a city of extremes. Some of India's wealthiest people live in Mumbai, and some of India's poorest individuals live in Mumbai, and they live in very close quarters, and there's a lot of extreme juxtapositions across the city. So the way that I've designed the course is that we spend the first week really unpacking this term, urban justice. If you have taken URB 236 or Intro to Urban Studies with me, if you were in that class this morning, then we already started talking about urban justice, but the way we define the term is very different in the West than it is in the global South. And so we'll talk about many different theories of justice. And then when we're in the field in Mumbai, we will focus on various different aspects of the city from an environmental lens, an economic lens, a climate lens, a housing lens, to then unpack these various theories of justice and look at these extreme juxtapositions throughout Mumbai. So that's what the class is about. And it's recommended that you've taken 235 and 236 before you take the class. If you're not an urban studies student and you've taken other social science types of courses, that should be fine as well, particularly sociology or political science, or if you've taken coursework that explores literatures about the global South, you'll be well prepared for this class. And then I'll go to the next slide, please. And so these are some of the field trips that I have planned. So as I said, in week 1, we will define urban justice. We'll talk about post-colonialism in Mumbai, what that means, what the city was like before the British came and took over, and how the city developed under British rule and then after British rule, and why the city looks the way it does today. So that will be our intro. And then once we're there, we will look at the informal economy. So we will do a walking tour through Dharavi, the slum that I was just talking about, and we'll also visit Dhobi Ghat, which is a really famous site in Mumbai where people who are hired to do laundry, they all go to this area called Dhobi Ghat, where they're doing laundry and they're hanging up all of their clients' clothes. And the workers there are part of the informal economy. So that's also a really important site. And there's actually a film, a 2008 film called Dhobi Ghat, which we'll probably watch in preparation for the field trip, where the film is about 4 different characters throughout the city of Mumbai that live very, very disparate lives, and they come from very different economic backgrounds, but they're all linked together through this area, Dhobi Ghat. So we'll watch the film and we'll actually visit Dhobi Ghat, and we'll talk about all these different realities in the city. And then along those lines, we'll talk about these extreme juxtapositions and income stratification, and we'll actually go visit Bollywood. So Mumbai is home to Bollywood, which is the Indian equivalent of Hollywood. Actually, Bollywood produces the most films in the world. Hollywood is the second place to produce the most films in the world, but India beats it. And that's where also a lot of the city's wealth comes from that film industry. So Andheri is a suburb of Mumbai where a lot of Bollywood studios are located. So we'll actually go and we'll visit Bollywood studios and we'll see how the Bollywood industry is an engine for the city and the various different types of employment. And we'll probably watch a few movies. I already mentioned Dhobigat, and we'll look at how the city of Mumbai is portrayed in those movies. And then we'll have critical discussions about our own perceptions and go to some of the places like Dhobigat that we see in the movies. So that would be week 2. Week 3, we'll talk about housing justice and the various types of architecture and housing affordability and opportunities in Mumbai from informal to formal. We'll also talk about climate justice. We'll do a Mumbai water walk where we'll talk about the various different channels of water and how that shapes the city's design and who has access to clean water. And that walk will also have many layers of history with pre-colonialism, colonialism, post-colonialism. And we may also do a field trip to Pune, and I'll talk about the images on the slide shortly, but there's a fantastic nonprofit in the city of Pune, which is a smaller city 3 hours away from Mumbai, where a nonprofit called Swachh operates, and Swachh is India's first waste pickers cooperative. And so basically what the nonprofit did is it formalized informal waste pickers who tended to be rural migrants from villages that came to the city and were picking up trash and recyclable items to earn money. They created a cooperative and formalized all those waste pickers and also provided them with public health training, and then were able to get large contracts from the city of Pune to keep the city clean. And so what Swachh does is waste walks throughout the city. So either we'll actually do a field trip where we get to go to Pune and you'll see another city and we'll learn about their operations and go on a waste walk, or Swachh will partner us with a similar organization in Mumbai to see how waste pickers operate and keep the city clean. And then in week 4, we will look at themes around gender justice. And we have an expert, I know an expert in Mumbai that will give us an LGBTQ underground walking tour of the city to talk about safe spaces for the queer population, sites of activism, also safe spaces and sites of activism for women. And so we'll talk about the various dimensions of gender, how it's conceived in Indian society, and different grassroots mobilizations that are going on around different types of gender justice. And then we'll end the class with some sort of creative project. So you'll definitely have to do some research, but if you've taken courses with me before, you know that I really like to have different types of outputs, not just research papers. So you'll probably have to do a photo essay on a specific issue of justice that we came across in the class, or if you want to do research on one that is of interest to you, even if we didn't discuss it in the class, but using themes that we talked about, or create an alternative countercultural map that's mapping the city in ways that are different from mainstream maps that is telling a social justice story about the city. And so I'll ask you to do some sort of creative deliverable, and we'll have a final exhibition where you can share your creations and perceptions of the city from our 3 weeks together. And the last thing that I'll just mention is that aside from my own experience going to Mumbai growing up and working there as a young person, the last 2 years I've also been the faculty advisor for a capstone course in the Urban Studies program, the MUCP, which is the Multidisciplinary Urban Capstone course. And in that course, we partner with nonprofits for a year, and U of T students are working with the nonprofits in India for a year on a real world problem. So this year, for example, we partnered with the organization Swatch, which is the Waste Pickers Cooperative, and also another sort of policy development and engagement firm called Raniti. They're both based in Pune. So I've taken students the last 2 years for a 1 week long field visit to Mumbai and Pune to meet these organizations and start collecting data for their projects. So that's what inspired me to design this course, because 1 week is not enough and there's so much to see and learn and understand, but we'll be working with those organizations and meeting with them as well as part of your field trip. So the images that you see on the slide are some images from the MUCP 1 week field visits. We're enjoying what's called a thali meal in the photograph at the top, which is Gujarati or Rajasthani food. There's an image of one of the walking tours, and it's a walking tour about how the plague affected the urban design of Mumbai, and also gets into the history of colonialism. So the person holding the iPad was our guide. She's an art historian, and she's showing us Art Deco buildings in Mumbai. And then the bottom two pictures are students who are partnered with the cooperative Swatch, where they're creating a website and storytelling platform of the work that Swatch does. So the students are posing with a waste picker in the bottom photo, and then you're seeing the waste picker doing her work. So we'll engage with some of these same organizations and people, but we'll go a lot deeper and we'll have a lot more time to explore. So I'll stop there. Did I miss anything, Lorraine?
No, this is fantastic. So inspiring, such an important topic, and in an area of the world that's really personal to me as well. So let's, now that you know a little bit more about the India Summer Abroad program, I hope you're all intrigued, and I hope all of you apply to the program. I think it'll be an amazing opportunity to be going with Professor Mehta based on her incredible experiences and her insights to really be immersing yourself in those topics. And if you've been in her courses before, you know the professor. So 3 to 4 weeks with her, that'll be fantastic. It's an incredible opportunity. So just quickly on the eligibility, again, somewhere about open to all UFT students. Of course, they have to be in good standing, CGPA above 1.75. And we do also consider visiting students, all students from other North American universities. So we have a number of summer abroad participants who would encourage, invite their friends from other universities to also join them on the summer abroad program. So if you know somebody, you're welcome to direct them to the Summer Abroad website. And we have instructions for our students from other universities on how they can apply and what they need. And we can guide the individuals through the process as well. A couple of kind of operational logistical components. Summer Abroad program is definitely here to support our participants. Once students are admitted to the program, their visas and insurance are elements where we would guide students through. So students or participants who are admitted in the program are responsible for arranging their own visa if it is required. For Canadian citizens, we will be guiding you through the process. So once you're admitted, as part of your admission letter, there will be instructions and you will see links on what you need to do. For international students who may need to apply for different entry visas or different travel documentations, don't worry, we will provide you with relevant links and next steps. We always advise all our participants to apply for visas from Toronto wherever possible. It's because we have good linkages. and we're able to advise you and provide you with relevant documentations while you're in Toronto. If you happen to be flying back home to a different country and you have a need to apply from a different country, of course, we will provide help and support, but do know that sometimes it limits our ability to provide the same level of assistance. And in terms of insurance, don't worry, we'll be providing you with information on insurance coverage. For most of our participants, because you are a UFT student, you would automatically be covered under your existing student union travel insurance. But any student who may think they may need additional health insurance or travel insurance, we will definitely be able to provide you with links to consider other possible types of insurance that may suit your need. So just to clarify, as Professor Mehta has mentioned, once you admit it, we will provide details regarding your travel. The travel dates for 2025 is May 16 to June 8, so you can prepare and you have an understanding of whether that meets and aligns with your goals for this particular summer. Students often ask me how does the flight arrangements work. So in the past, years ago, we used to do group flights, but we received really good feedback from students that it was a little bit more flexible if students could create their own flight paths. So we've responded to that need. Once you admit it, we do provide you with a recommended travel plan or a flight plan. So once you're admitted, we will indicate which date, which flight, which time is best for you to take to make sure that you're arriving in India on May the 16th. Most of the students who are traveling from Toronto will be on that group flight. So you will see most of your peers on that flight. But of course, if for any reason you're traveling maybe from another city in Ontario, or maybe from a different province because you want to go back home, say hello to your family, and then travel to India, you can just keep in mind when all your other classmates are arriving and then make suitable arrangements accordingly so that you are there for the check-in as we advised for May the 16th. And don't worry, we will be making sure that once students are admitted, you're connected to each other. That's another frequently asked questions I get all the time. How do I know who's in my class? Once students are admitted into the URB course for the India Summer Abroad program, we will nudge you to set up a student-led Facebook group or WhatsApp, whatever really the group wants. And that's usually very active. You'll be able to share tips, plan, and interact with each other. So you get to know each other a little bit more, sometimes even before your first week happens, which is a fantastic way to make sure you have a great relationship or connection before the program. So here is a little bit information about accommodation. We are looking to house students in the student residence under the Tata Institute of Social Sciences in Mumbai. The accommodation, again, because it's a new program, a new year, we will have more details that will be added on our website in the next couple of weeks, so stay tuned. I would also share with you is Professor Mehta did mention there may be a potential overnight trip to Pune. For that particular overnight field trip, do note that the accommodation in Pune for that one overnight would likely be shared. So for students who may need to take that into consideration for personal reasons, do keep in mind when you're thinking about the India program. So now that we've talked a little bit about eligibility and some of the practical elements, let me talk a little bit about the cost and the funding. Students often are a little bit hesitant about thinking about these international opportunities or programs because you may be thinking, okay, it might be too expensive. So let me talk to you a little bit about planning around finances. Start budgeting now. It's really important for you to be aware of absolutely what the cost elements would be, but also to a good analysis and review of what resources, funding resources are available out there. You have a number of opportunities available, funding opportunities available across the University of Toronto. If you're a domestic student, you will still be eligible for OSAP or government fundings like PC loans, etc., as part of a summer abroad program. Why? Because summer abroad is a UFT credit. It appears on your transcript and you're registered still as a UFT student during the summer. Therefore, OSAP still applies. Do note OSAP funds don't get released until closer to the start of the program or sometimes after the program starts, so just plan around it, but you'll still be, as long as you meet eligibility, be able to apply for OSAP extensions. I'll also talk quite a bit about on the Summer Abroad Awards that's open to all our applicants. Over and above the Summer Abroad Awards, you also have access to CIE International Experience IE Plus Awards, both for international and domestic students. And students are definitely across the three campuses should definitely check with your registrar's office because certain colleges or certain divisions also have travel funds. So wherever possible, ensure you're applying for all different kinds of funding because you can stack awards. So just don't think that you're limited to one type of funding. Like you only have OSAP right now, so that's the only type of funding that might be available. No, think beyond that. OSAP you'll use for your EFT tuition fees or course fees. The summer abroad funding, you would be able to use it to cover all different types of summer abroad kind of cost. The CIE fund, IE Plus Award could help for your travel, flights, accommodations, so on and so forth. So always think about stacking funding as much as possible. When you are on this Summer Abroad India page, this is what you will see. So on the top, you'll see India, and it reminds you it's between May and June. There'll be tabs on the left. You'll be able to find a little bit more information, or you'll be able to also read again on the program details, accommodation details, and there's also a tab on the course information. The fourth link or the fourth tab on your left is cost. So this is where the details of the cost is available to you. There are two sub-tabs. One is for domestic student and one is for international student. Any student paying currently domestic tuition fees at the University of Toronto will be paying the domestic student fees for summer abroad as well. So remember to click on that blue box and it opens up and you can actually drill down and see what the different cost entails. So here is a quick snapshot. On the left-hand side, I've just basically done a screenshot of the different elements for domestic students. And on the right side, you're seeing the breakdown of international. So you'll see there's a little bit of a difference. Those kind of green rectangular section on the top is fees that you pay to the summer abroad office. So that includes an application fee, 210, the course fee, which is different for domestic and international, incidental fees, which you normally would take, would pay on your student account, which covers things like your travel insurance, etc. And then field trip fees, which will cover all your activities that are planned for you over the weeks of the program. And the last line is the accommodation, which will cover all your week in India. So that's all cost that you pay to the summer abroad office. The section on the bottom, which is indicated and labeled as additional cost, additional fees that are estimates. So we want to make sure that you have a good idea about the overall costs. So in addition to the cost that you pay to the summer abroad office, you would then be able to arrange and also work within your budget on airfare. So we've provided you an estimate based on the recommended flight, and it's a certain amount, as you can see on the screen. However, based on your travel path that you decide, it may look a little bit different. And the same is around meals transportation. So meals is often a question where students will ask, okay, this is an estimate, but will it be enough? It really depends. If you're planning to eat out a lot, if you want to be going to a number of maybe high-end restaurants over the weekend on your personal time, budget a little bit more. But if you are able to make sure that you're keeping your meal cost reasonable, then this would be the amount that we would estimate for you. So do use these additional costs as references. And at the bottom is the approximate total cost for the program for domestic and international students for you to consider. So now that you've looked at the cost, again, a reminder, don't let cost ever deter you. If there is a financial need, know that there are resources available to you. The University of Toronto has been doing a significant amount of fundraising, and one of our objectives is to make sure students are aware of the resources, financial resources available out there. Just as stats, a quick fact, for 2024 summer, Woodswood College granted $400,000 to our summer abroad participants, and this was provided to students to ensure that they are able to participate in these incredible opportunities. The funding amounts also differ based on your level of need. So if you demonstrate high needs, we do try to make sure we're addressing it or advising and directing you towards additional resources so you're able to cover for different types of funding. So just going back to financial aids or awards that are offered through the Summer Abroad Office. I have indicated the award criteria on the screen. Our funding through Summer Abroad, the focus usually is for domestic students. So you'll notice that for the award on the screen, the criteria is more on eligibility for domestic students, multiple awards up to 5,000, and in actually some cases it even goes up to 1,000 depending on financial need. Okay, so once you're actually starting your summer abroad application, there is a section which will where you are asked a question: would you like to apply for awards or funding? Click yes. Don't forget to do that. Click yes, and the application will then prompt and guide you through the funding application automatically. In addition to the needs-based awards, we do have merit-based awards as well, but they are smaller in quantity and usually a little bit more competitive. But we do have those available, and I put the criteria information on the screen, and they're available on our website as well. So now that you know quite a bit about summer abroad, I hope you're all now inspired to apply. The website for our application is on the screen. Deadline is February 3rd. So here's a snapshot of what our website looks like. There is the yellow button on the top right, log into application, and you can start applying right away. Once you log in, this is what your application looks like. It's very streamlined and very easy to use. It'll actually guide you through the different steps so you can see already it's quite easy. It'll automatically guide you through next steps and confirm with you once you've completed all the necessary steps. And you'll also be asked to pay the application fee, which is $210 at the bottom. So how does assessment work? We do not admit on a first come, first serve basis. It's a very holistic assessment. So we do review your personal statement, so put some thought into it. We want to know why you're applying, why you think this really aligns really well with your personal goals, academic goals, or future goals. One of the new things that we also included is a recorded interview section. So at the end of your application, you will see a link that will guide you through a couple of prompts, and you'll be asked to record your responses verbally on the screen. Don't worry, if you're nervous, it's natural, but it's really, really straightforward. We're not looking for perfect answers. Just be yourself. We really want to know you and get a better sense of why this program would be a fantastic fit for you. So as long as you're yourself, responding to the prompts, acting just like as if you're having a conversation with me, it'll be perfect. And if you need help, there's a how-to video on this particular process as well. So application deadline February 3rd, admission decisions, we try to get them out as soon as possible. Usually starting mid-February, email offers will start going out. Once you receive an offer, so you check your emails, as soon as you are admitted, you will be prompted to confirm your participation by paying a non-refundable deposit of $1,000 within 1 week. If you've applied for funding or any of our student summer abroad awards as part of your application, we will also try to give you a decision on your funding at the same time so that you can make an informed decision on regarding your participation, which is good. If you do decline your offer of admission, though, unfortunately, it means we would not be able to refund the application fee. If you're not offered a position, if for any reason you don't meet the eligibility requirement, we do refund you $100 back. So there's a partial refund of your application fee, which we think is fair. Remaining fees deadline would be April 2nd. So you do have a significant time to make sure that the remaining fees are offered. We try to make sure that there is ample time given to individuals so you can plan around your different expenses. And don't worry, from the time of your admission to your departure, there'll be lots of guidance, lots of pre-departure training and orientations to make sure that you're prepared for this incredible opportunity abroad. One of the things I do want to also share with you would be all the EDIA resources that are available to you. Summer Abroad is committed to the principles of EDIA, equity, diversity, inclusion, and accessibility. And we have a staff whose focus is on diversity and inclusion. There is a QR code on the screen if you want to chat with somebody, if you have specific needs or concerns, to meet with Venture, and she will guide you through processes or even direct you to resources. We've put together EDIA resources specifically for summer abroad participants because we know that being abroad may have different elements that you may need to consider. So students in different student communities are encouraged to read through our resources and even come talk to us if you want to learn a little bit more. Students who are enrolled with our accessibility offices are also encouraged to meet with us as soon as possible. We've successfully supported so many students to go abroad, and we work really, really closely with your accessibility advisor to get better understand what your accessibility needs may be, and to ensure that support is put in place before you are going abroad. But it means it's a joint and a partnership with you. So the earlier you come and connect with us, the better we would be able to support you and guide you through what might be the best option out there for you. And I'm going to close up by saying that we are really, really delighted that we also have, in addition to all the other resources, a Diversity and Excellence Award. So this will be a third year offering it. And the Inclusion, Diversity and Excellence Award has been created because we know we have fantastic students who are doing so many incredible things supporting the advancement of ETIA here at the university. And we want to make sure that you have this option to do it even when you're doing international opportunities abroad. So there are 4 awards, $5,000 each, and it's open to all students who are participating in summer abroad. So if you're working on any initiative, if you're passionate about EDIA projects or leading it or creating it, to make a note of it on your application when you're applying, and we would be considering you for these amazing awards and funding. So here is, again, a quick overview of our different posts that happens on our Instagram account. If you're not already following us, do follow us and read about our different opportunities on our student experiences. So I'm going to end by, again, summarizing our different ways to connect with our office. Find out more by going to our website, attend our various information sessions. We have an application blitz that happens as well. Talk to past participants just about generally about summer abroad programs, or come talk to us if you have follow-up questions about the India program.